Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today in Need for Speed Unbound, we are going to be looking at ASAP Rocky's 190E. I have not been able to find many uses for this car when I originally got it. It seems pointless to have even included it in the game because it doesn't seem to be good at anything. But I'm going to show you the two best builds I was able to find for it in A+ and S classes, and see how it stacks up against the AI and possibly determine if it's worth buying or not. Or I shouldn't say worth buying because you earn the thing. Worth modding it out and doing the engine swap in it. So, for the engine, we are using the 2.8 liter flat 6 in this car. For the parts, for the A+ build, we are using the Sport Induction, the Super ECU, the Pro Fuel System, the Pro Exhaust, the Pro Roots Supercharger with Sport Nitrous, Elite Road Suspension, Super Brakes, Elite Grip Tires, Elite Clutch, the Sport 5-Speed Gearbox, and the Elite Differential with Super Nitrous Grip and Super Nitrous Drift. For the handling, we have it set to 70% grip with steering sensitivity all the way up, downforce all the way up, and brake tap as the drift entry. Alright, let's go check it out. Oh, it also gives you a top speed of 198 miles per hour, a 0 to 60 of 4.2, and a quarter mile of 12.2. Almost forgot to add that. Now let's go check it out. Alright, so here we go on Skyline Sprint. And let me get that up there to see how this will perform against these AI people on a long straight race. Thanks for pushing me out super wide there, Harlow. That was super appreciated. And if I can do this without wrecking, I'll be okay, but not wrecking is the name of the game. Because it is also very easy to wreck on races like this, especially when the cops want to try and get involved and do silly stuff like get in front of you. Even though I don't think they cause you to wreck out, you just take them out and you're fine. But it's still annoying to have them as part of the race. So I'm already up in the 180s, just flying through this. And if I can, like I said, keep it without wrecking, I'll be alright. So there's our top speed of 198. And it didn't take us too long to get there. Not even half the race. Almost half the race, but not quite. So now I just have to hold it until the end of this. And hopefully I can do that. A lot of the times in multiplayer, I'll stay over here in the left-hand lanes. Oh, I got a little loose. I wasn't expecting that. So I guess that's something to be aware of, is that the rear end on it can get loose when it's up in the high speeds. But as I was saying, in multiplayer, a lot of the time I'll spend most of my time in the left-hand lanes of the race trying to get my nitrous back up so that I have it at my disposal. But against the AI, I haven't really needed it. It says they're catching me, which I find that very hard to believe. I think that's just rubber banding. But there we go. I got past them at the start and they never caught back up. So at least on a straight line race, this car will perform very well. So now we have to go find a race where it's not quite so straight and we have some turns involved to see if it actually holds up or not. Alright, so here we are on the long climb, which I think will give us a better representation of how this car will actually perform, because it's not just a straight. I just wanted to show off that it had pretty decent acceleration with a good top speed. So here we are on a course with some actual corners and more traffic to have to try and avoid, and some other random things thrown in, like, you know, that start on the dirt. Oh wow, that was my fault. That was my overcorrecting. So I got past him without too much of a problem. Can I maintain it though? That is the question. So the car doesn't really seem to want to maintain drifts. I know it is tuned more for grip than drifting, but I have had plenty of grip builds that will drift just the way you would like them to going around corners. For some reason, this one doesn't want to, but I'm not surprised. This card just seems like it was a random inclusion in the game. I know it was something that ASAP Rocky had built, but the question is, did he have it built before the game, or did he get it built because of the game? That is something I don't know. Maybe it's been reported on, but I don't know the answer to that question. What I do know is it has never been great in much of anything. Anytime I see somebody use it, I've never been afraid of losing to that car, which is why I'm trying to make a couple builds with it that are usable, so that maybe every time you see it, you're not like, well, I'm going to win, or at least I'm not going to lose to that car. So far it doesn't seem to be doing too poorly. Obviously the top speed doesn't mean anything on this course, because courses with curves, top speed doesn't matter. It's all about handling and acceleration at that point, which the acceleration on this could be better coming out of the corners. But I'm hitting, you know, I'm over the hundreds after I get out of the corner, which is nice. And for the most part, it hasn't seemed to wanted to slide out on any of these straights or corners, because I wasn't doing almost 200 miles an hour, which is part of it. But there we go. So A+, not bad. It feels like a solid build. I do think some other ones out there, like my Skyline build, the Ferrari Testarossa for sure. Trying to think. There's at least maybe the M1 will outperform this thing for sure. This is like a middle of the road A+ car. So let's go switch everything over for the S-Class and test it out there. Okay, so here we are with the S-Class build of the 190E. For the engine, we are sticking with the 2.8 liter flat 6. For the parts, we have the Elite induction, the Super ECU, the Super Fuel System, the Elite exhaust, the Super Screw Supercharger, the Sport Nitrous, the Elite Road Suspension, the Elite Brakes, the Elite Grip Tires, the Elite Clutch, the Pro 6-speed gearbox, the Elite Differential with Super Nitrous Grip and Super Nitrous Drift, with the handling set to 80% grip, steering sensitivity all the way up, downforce 2 to the right, and drift entry for brake tap. This will give you a top speed of 218 miles per hour, which is way more than most of my S-Class builds, which are usually in the mid to high 80s, low 190s. A 0 to 60 of 3.6, and a quarter mile of 11.3. So it is not the fastest 0 to 60 or a quarter mile out there, but we're going to go hop into an S-Class race and see how it does, and it will be my first time racing this build in S-Class, so I'm going to find out right along with you. Let's go! Alright, so here we are on Blue Collar. We're going to see how this one performs with some straights and some corners and some S-Class racing. Off the line, not doing great, but that is expected given the 0 to 60 in the quarter mile. But I am catching up coming up to the first corner. And if I wouldn't have run into them, I maybe could have had a little bit cleaner exit through that corner than what I did, but that's okay. I see Lyric coming up behind me, and he just hit me because he can't win without doing that. And that's okay. AI is very unskilled in this game. So down this section, I seem to be pulling away a little bit. Oh, got a little loose there. This car does seem to want to get loose very easily. I have adjusted around with the downforce on it and haven't been able to fix that problem with it. I think it's just a problem that's going to exist with this car no matter how you tune it. Some cars just want to get loose and that's it. They're not going to work with you to stay planted to the track whether you want them to or not. I mean, I know the cops are in the way there, but I seem to be doing a pretty good job getting away from everybody else. Here comes the long off-road section, which will just sap your speed. But you got that nice little, and I do mean little, jump there to get that burst NOS built up. And then here comes the technical section of the course, which is where I'm really curious to see how this is going to perform. It does, when you do drift the corners with this vehicle, it really seems to want to just drift right away. It doesn't want to hang out in the drift. It just kind of wants to do a 180, and that's it. In some cases, like a hairpin turn, that's nice, but in other cases, when you have much more subtle corners, that's not as nice to have happen. I prefer to have the car just follow along with the curvature of the road rather than try and make its own path through it. So yeah, that was an easy race. It was over 400 yards between me and Lyric by the time I finished it. It's really not bad, other than the fact that the car wants to slide out on you. It feels, for the most part, stable, like I said, other than the fact it wants to slide out occasionally. It has decent acceleration, and it has good top speed. The acceleration's nice once it gets up there, just past those first couple of gears. I mean, you got the car for free. If you want to spend any money on it to try and make it usable, I think this is going to be the most viable build for it. In A+ or S, depends on which one you prefer to see it in. So that's going to do it for this car. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, please. Like the video, leave some comments, and I'll see you in the next one.